Good morning. This is Dulia De Silva for Gold FM, bringing you your morning news.
The news headlines on Gold FM.
In your news headlines, Trump wants to be personally involved in choosing Iran's next leader. Attack on Iran's ship was a war crime, says Arakchi. Personnel of second Iranian vessel brought to Colombo port. Corruption charges filed against energy minister. And in sports news, India advances to T20 World Cup final.
The top story on Gold FM.
More than 200 personnel from a second distressed Iranian vessel were brought ashore at the Colombo port as rescue efforts intensify in the Indian Ocean. Navy media spokesperson confirmed that the 204 individuals will be transferred to the Valisara Naval Base for further processing following preliminary medical examinations. This humanitarian operation follows a devastating United States submarine attack that sank the Iranian ship Iris Dina, a strike that resulted in multiple deaths. The Indian Navy confirmed that it is coordinating a wide-scale search and rescue mission for the Iris Dina's missing personnel, working in close partnership with Sri Lankan authorities. In a special address yesterday, President Anura Kumara Dissanayake announced what measures are being taken regarding the second ship, the Bushehr.
ඕනෑම ජාත්‍යන්තර ගැටුමකදී අපේ ස්ථාවරයේ අපේ මධ්‍යස්ථභාවය අපේ භූමිය අපේ මුහුදු කලාපයන් අපේ ගුවන් කලාපයන් කිසිසේත්ම කවර හෝ රාජ්‍යයකට ගැටුමේදී පක්ෂපාතී ආකාරයෙන් හෝ කවර හෝ රාජ්‍යයකට පීඩාවක් ගෙන දෙන ආකාරයෙන් කටයුතු කරන්න අපි ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ තමයි අපේ ස්ථාවරය. ඉරානයේ මේ නෞකාවන් දෙකක් පිළිබඳ ප්‍රශ්න මතුවී තිබෙන්නේ. එහිදීත් අපි අනුගමනය කරමින් තිබෙන්නේ මධ්‍යස්ථභාවය. ඒ වගේම අපි ජාතියක් ලෙස රාජ්‍යයක් ලෙස කිසිසේත්ම මධ්‍යස්ථභාවය ආරක්ෂා කරන ගමන් මානුෂවාදය මනුස්සත්වය අපි අංකයකට තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි කිසිසේත්ම පැකිලෙන්නේ නැහැ. මනුස්සත්වය ආරක්ෂා කර ගැනීම සඳහා මිනිස් ජීවිත ආරක්ෂා කර ගැනීම සඳහා ගත යුතු ක්‍රියාමාර්ග තිබෙනවා නම් ඒ ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගැනීමට අපි කිසිසේත්ම පැකිලීමක් ලක් කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ අනුව පහුගිය 26 වෙනිදා ඉරානය රාජ්‍ය විසින් අපේ විදේශ කටයුතු අමාත්‍යාංශයෙන් නාවික යාත්‍රා 3ක් අපේ වරායන්ට සේන්දු වීම සඳහා මාර්තු 9 සහ 13 කියන දින හතර තුල අපේ වරායට ප්‍රවිෂ්ඨ වීම සඳහා අපෙන් අවසර ඉල්ලුවා. ඒක හැඳින්වුවේ ගුඩ්විල් විසිට් එකක් කියලා. සහයෝගිතා වර්ධනය කරන සංචාරයක නිරත වෙන්න උන් අපෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටියේ. ඒ නිසා අපි ක්‍රියාපටිපාටින් අධ්‍යයනය කරමින් හිටියා. ඒ අතරතුර 27 වෙනිදා අපිට වාර්තා කරා අයිරිස් දැන් අපි දැනට බාරයට අරන් තියෙන නෞකාවේ එක් නාවිකයෙක් යම් එම නැවේ තුල වැටිලා යම් ආපදාවට ලක් වෙලා තිබෙන බව අපිට වාර්තා කරා. ඒ නිසා අපෙන් ඉල්ලා හිටියා එම නාවිකයා සහ නිලධාරියෙක් මානසික අවශ්‍යතාවයන් සඳහා ගොඩබිමට රැගෙන එන්න. අපේ නාවික හමුදාව සහ අපේ ගුවන් හමුදාව මැදිහත් වී එම දෙදෙනා කෙනෙක් ඒ ආබාධයට ලක් වූ කෙනා අනිත් කෙනා උට රැකවරණ දෙන්න නිලධාරී තමයි උන් ඉල්ලා සිටියේ. ඒ දෙදෙනාම අපි ගොඩබිමට ගෙනාවා. ගෙල් අවශ්‍ය කරන වෛද්‍ය කටයුතු යොමු කරා. මේ අතරතුර තමයි 4 වෙනිදා අපිට වාර්තා වුණා අපේ ජාතික ජල තීරයෙන් ඔබ්බේ ආසන වශයෙන් ගත්තුත් ගාලු වරායේ සිට මුහුදු සැතපුම් 19ක දුරින් යම් යාත්‍රාවකට ප්‍රහාරයක් එල්ල වී තිබෙන බව සහ එම ප්‍රදේශයෙන් අපට ආපදා අනතුරු සංඥාවන් නිකුත් කරා. එන අපේ නාවික හමුදාව අපේ ගුවන් හමුදාව ශනිකව වේගයෙන් මැදිහත් වී එහිදී අපිට 32 දෙනෙක් මුදවා ගැනීම හැකියාව ලැබුණා. තව 84ක් මලසිරුව අපිට ලැබුණා. දෙවනුව තමයි දැනට මේ සාකච්ඡාවට බඳුන් වෙන එම නෞකාව අපි හඳුන්වනවා අයිරිස් බුෂර් කියන නෞකාව. 4 වෙනි දින අපිට විදේශ කටයුතු අමාත්‍යාංශයට වාර්තා කරා 4 හා 5 කියන දෙදින තුල අපේ වරායකට සේන්දු වීමට අපිට අවසර ලබා දෙන්න කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි මේ පිළිබඳව අධ්‍යයනය කරමින් හිටියා. කොහොමද කළ යුතු වන්නේ අපි සාකච්ඡා කරමින් හිටියා. අපේ විදේශ අමාත්‍යතුමා ඉරානයේ විදේශ අමාත්‍යතුමාත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරා. තානාපති කාර්යාලය අපේ විදේශ කටයුතු අමාත්‍යාංශයත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරමින් හිටියා. මොකක්ද අපි ගත යුතු ක්‍රියාමාර්ග කියලා. එනිසාම සාකච්ඡාවලින් අනතුරුව අපි අපේ යෝජනාව උනේ අපි මෙම පිරිසක් මෙම නැවත් අපේ බාරයට අපි ගන්න ලෑස්ති. ඒ සඳහා අපි අතර එන සම්මුතින් සහ එකඟතාවයන් තමයි අපි සාකච්ඡා කරගත යුතු වන්නේ. මොකද අපි දන්නවා අපේ කොළඹ වරාය ආසන්නයේ මෙම නාවික යාත්‍රාව තිබුණා. කොළඹ වරාය අපේ ප්‍රධානතම වාණිජ වරාය. ඒක අපේ නාවික කර්මාන්තර විශාල බලපෑමක් ඇතිවීම අනතුරක් තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි තීරණය කරා එම නෞකාව අපි කොළඹ වරායට රැගෙන එන්නේ නැහැ. අපි එම නෞකාව ත්‍රිකුණාමල වරායට රැගෙන යනවා. ත්‍රිකුණාමල වරායට රැගෙන යන කලින් එහි ඉන්න පිරිස කොළඹ වරායට ළඟා කරගන්න කැමතියි. ඒ අනුව අපේ නාවික යාත්‍රාවන් එම යාත්‍රාව සමීපයට ගිහිල් එම අය මුදවා ගැනීමේ කාර්යය අපි නිරත වෙමින් තිබෙනවා. දැන් අපිට වාර්තා වෙලා තිබෙන විදිහට අපි 208 දිනක් ගොඩබිමට රැගෙන ඉන්න සූදානම් කරලා තිබෙනවා. ඒ වගේම අනතුරුව එම නැවට අවශ්‍ය කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයක් අපේ නාවිකයන් එක්ක ඒකාබද්ධව එම යාත්‍රාව ත්‍රිකුණාමල ප්‍රදේශයට ගෙනියන්න ත්‍රිකුණාමල වරාය ආසන්නට ගෙනියන්න අපි සැලසුම් කරලා තිබෙනවා. අපි කිසිදු රාජ්‍යයකට පක්ෂපාතීව හෝ කිසිදු රාජ්‍යයක යටත් වීමකට යටත් අපි කටයුතු කරන්නේ නැහැ.
Going back to Iristina, the sinking continues to be a point of contention. Former Indian Foreign Secretary Kanwal Sibal said in an ex-post that India possesses a moral obligation towards the victims, as the warship arrived in India for a military exercise. Meanwhile, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that the attack was a war crime.
Well, first of all, that was a training training ship, which was invited by the Indian Navy to take part in an exercise. And they went there as their guests, the Indians guests, and they did participate in that exercise, and they were in their way back home, and the ship was unarmed. So attacking an unarmed ship full of training officers and sailors is a war crime, I have to say.
A Galle magistrate conducted post-mortem examinations for the 84 Iranian sailors killed during the attack. 2 40-foot refrigerated containers were transported to the Galle National Hospital last evening to store the bodies of the sailors. Meanwhile, India rejected a report claiming that the US was using its ports to strike Iran. That's after former US Army Colonel Douglas Macgregor, during an interview, suggested that the US was using the Indian naval bases in its war against Iran. A former Indian Navy chief noted that India should express its displeasure to the US for bringing warfare to the South Asian region.
40 miles off the coast of Sri Lanka is at our doorstep, and the fact that this warship has been sunk by a torpedo means that a US Navy nuclear submarine and SSN has been lurking in these waters for many days. Technically, we have no responsibility, but you were speaking of ethics. I mean, this ship was a guest of the Indian Navy. We hosted it for the International Fleet Review in Visakhapatnam just a few days ago, where the President of India was present there, and within days of her departing from Visakhapatnam, where she was our guest, it's been torpedoed and sunk by the US Navy. So it's an issue of great concern. There's really nothing required of us, but we should convey our deep concern and displeasure also that you sunk a warship. I mean, you brought maritime warfare to our doorstep.
While highlighting that Sri Lanka was successful in handling the distress call, former Navy Commander and Foreign Secretary Admiral Professor Jainath Kolambage is of the view that the government should take some time, obtain expert views, and articulate a proper response. That was while addressing the launch of the Pathfinder National Security Strategy yesterday.
We agreed that not responding to this in any way is detrimental, because this happened very close to Sri Lankan territorial waters, and this happened within the busiest shipping lane across the Indian Ocean, where nearly 300 ships passing every day, and our ships are there as well. What if there was a mistaken identity? From 1971, Sri Lanka was very keen on maintaining this as a zone of peace. Now the major powers, although it was ratified in the United Nations, it never saw the light at the end of the tunnel, because they did not want it to happen. They did not want this to be a zone of peace. Now, after so many years, we have one incident which is very scary. So I think we need to come out with some kind of a response to this, at least to say, don't do this again in our waters or close to our ship.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Vijay Herat held separate emergency telephone discussions with his Iranian and Israeli counterparts. In his call with Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar, Minister Herat sought and received assurances regarding the safety of over 29,000 Sri Lankan nationals currently residing in the country. In a conversation with the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, Minister Herat expressed Sri Lanka's deep concern over the escalation of hostilities and recent incident involving the Iranian naval vessel. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed that Sri Lanka remains committed to maintaining a neutral stance, while prioritising the safety of its citizens across the region. A retired Air Force officer has filed a fundamental rights petition in the Supreme Court, challenging the arrest and detention of former State Intelligence Service Chief Major General Suresh Saleh under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. The Ministry of Defence was named among the respondents. Meanwhile, the Criminal Investigation Department informed the Colombo Fort magistrate via a motion that Saleh will be named the third suspect in the Easter Sunday attacks investigation. Saleh is currently being held and detained to be interrogated for 90 days. In the meantime, special instructions were issued to the fishing community by the Department of Fisheries to only engage in fishing activities in their traditional sea areas, in view of the escalating Middle East conflict. The Bribery Commission filed corruption charges against Energy Minister Kumara Jayakodi for allegedly helping a private company accrue an illegal profit in 2015, while employed at the Fertiliser Corporation. The Ceylon Electricity Board confirmed that all 3 generating units at the Norocchole Lakvijo power plant are operating without any technical issues. That's after speculation regarding a potential shutdown at the facility. Officials also maintained that the plant continues full operations despite previous reports of inferior fuel supplies.
Now for some news in brief.
Alleged organised criminal Janit Madhusankar, alias Podilasi, was remanded until the 17th of March by the Battigama Magistrates Court.
The business news on Gold FM.
The all-share price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange closed green yesterday after gaining 256.12 points to close at 22,833.53 points. In the meantime, this is your stock market update brought to you by Roshan Fernando of Capital Trust Securities.
The Colombo stock market extends upward momentum for the second consecutive day as investors accumulated beaten down stocks following Tuesday's sell-off aimed at escalating Middle East tensions. The all-share price index surged up 256 points to close at 22,833. Meanwhile, the more liquid S&P SL20 index also increased 68 points to settle at 6,452. Turnover was 5.68 billion rupees. A block trade in HAB Finance generated over 1 billion rupees, followed by Lanka Milk Foods Commercial Bank of Ceylon. A total of 177 stocks gained, while 52 stocks declined. The main drivers towards the all-share price index were John Keells, DFCC Bank and NDB Bank.
International news on Gold FM.
US President Donald Trump says that it would be unacceptable for Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the late Supreme Leader, to take power. Speaking to the press, Trump added that he intends to play a direct role in selecting Iran's next leader. The Israel Defense Forces announced that they are moving to the next phase of operations against Iran, with a spokesperson insisting that the military will further dismantle the regime and its capabilities. Speaking to foreign media, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that the US has failed in its objectives in the offensive.
It is clear that the US has failed to achieve its main goal, which was a clean, rapid victory. They failed to achieve that, and now they are trying to justify why they did attack us, and they have, presented so many different reasons, but none of them worked. And now they are talking about, Plan B, and I believe that, their Plan B would be even a bigger failure. So they are controlling our sky, but at the moment,
Minister, your supreme leader was killed. Your top military leaders were killed. Your military installations have been bombed. How can you call that a failure?
Well, then what they have achieved? What was their goal? They came here for a regime change, perhaps. They came here for a rapid victory, so they can, control everything. but they have failed. The system is working. The commanders have been replaced, and the supreme leader is going to be replaced soon, according to the procedures set by the constitution. So everything is in order. Yes, we have been targeted, but we have also have attacked so many targets in Israel, and so many targets belongs to the Americans, their assets, their bases, their installations in the region, and they have not been able to prevent those attacks. Our missiles are still working. Our missiles are still in place and hitting their targets in a very precise manner. So,
Minister, can Iran win this war? If I can ask you, can Iran win this war? And
In the meantime, speaking on allegations of targeting neighbours, this is what Araghchi had to say.
We have attacked Americans' targets and Americans' bases, Americans' installations, which are unfortunately located in the soils of our neighbors. So we have made it clear for them. I have been in touch with their foreign ministers, and I have explained that we are not targeting you. We have no problem with you. We are only targeting the American installations and American bases.
He also said that there will be no negotiation with the United States, as it is currently a moot point.
We are not asking for a ceasefire, and we don't see any reason why we should negotiate with the US when we negotiated with them twice, and every time they attacked us at the middle of negotiations. So there is no request for a ceasefire by us, and there is no request for the negotiation with the US from us. We have never sent any messages to them.
In a further development, President Volodymyr Zelensky of the Ukraine says that the United States requested Ukrainian assistance to help defend Gulf allies against Iranian drone technology.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
Pop star Britney Spears was arrested for driving under the influence last night. She was reportedly released soon and is scheduled to appear in court in May.
Sports news on Gold FM.
India reached the T20 World Cup final after a 7-run victory over England at the Wankhede Stadium yesterday. That's it for now. This is Dulia De Silva for Gold FM. Thank you and have a lovely day ahead.